Hello, I'm Linda. I live in Dating Hell here in the United Kingdom. This is a challenging time for me and others, and I think it is important for women to find out what they are getting into dating at this age. I never thought I would find myself alone at this very ripe age of over 65. Unfortunately, my husband Stephen, who was an Englishman, died a couple years ago. He was the love of my life for the 16 years we had together, and I miss him to bits, but I have to move on. I started dating a couple months after he died as a distraction from my grief. I thought that the best way to get over Stephen was finding someone new, much like the adage of the best way to get over the old dog that died is to get a new one. However, this is not quite the same. I loved being married. Life was always a challenge. But even living in small spaces like the chimney bird's nest bedsit, where we were tripping over each other, and you could touch the cooker from the bed, we were always glad we had each other. When I was younger, I rarely went very long before finding a new man. When I found myself on the market again in my late 40s, finding someone became more difficult. I was newspaper dating back then, though online dating was taking hold. It was absolute hell. I was on the market for 3.5 years before I met Stephen, but he was worth the wait. Now online dating is the only real choice for me. I have been offered lots of suggestions on how to meet someone in the real world. I am not a people person, so that prospect is not at all promising. My hobbies and interests are much different than the general population, so it is much more difficult to find someone with whom I have things in common. Even at this age, many are still trying to find that elusive soulmate, that one person who will accept them and understand them and not give them a hard time about their faults, and hopefully have everything in common. However, even having your soulmate is no guarantee of a working relationship. I have seen many soulmates divorce eventually. I have had several dates where everything looked good on paper, and I still got ghosted after the first date or even after just a phone call. I find it rude and disturbing that apparently it is now the norm just to disappear when someone decides it is not going to work out. A hard lesson I learned when I was dating 20 years ago was that it really doesn't matter why it didn't work out. That knowledge will not change the outcome of being dumped. After 40, people are pretty set in their ways and less likely to learn from any mistakes. So what you see is what you get. What you don't see is that they still think of themselves as being very much younger than they are, so that they find it extremely difficult to admit their own aging really is an influencing factor. I still find guys that boast that they can go all night, but then they never get past midnight, and even that is stretching it. Some say they want lots of sex, but at this age they are more likely to fall asleep and stay asleep. They are completely in denial, so don't get your expectations up regardless of what they say. And understand that even if your body type is average for your age, they want someone with an average body of 30. Few are realistic about what to expect at this age. The motivation for putting up with this bull is my basic need of wanting some company. I'm okay living by myself, and it is certainly preferable to living with someone who doesn't appreciate me. I don't care for it, though. I don't talk to myself, so I found I missed having someone to talk to hear my own voice, and it feels good to be able to tell someone that I love them. So I got a cat. She is a very nice lap cat and rather talkative, so we have our little conversations. I feel I should prepare myself for the possibility of not finding another mate. When we are young, we connect with someone because of the possibilities, and we don't know what things will drive us apart. As we age, those things become apparent and eventually perhaps intolerable. By my age, we know what we will no longer put up with. No more smokers or vapors, and no more alcoholics. But I would like it if they could drink sensibly. It doesn't do me much good dating a short man because I get rejected pretty quickly. But there are exceptions. The men still want to feel dominant, at least by size. They all seem to be holding out for the small woman with big boobs wearing a short dress, stockings, and high heels. It takes a lot of work to look fancy, and I don't care to put that much effort in unless the guy will take me to a nice restaurant for dinner. They usually put little effort into their own appearance, so I dress casually most of the time. Often the most I can hope for is that they at least trim their nose hair. I'm not so picky when it comes to a man's appearance. I try really hard to keep an open mind about most things. I can accept bad teeth and being overweight. However, I don't care for bald guys unless it is someone who can really pull it off like Bruce Willis, and that is rare. My dad was bald, and I loved him very much, but I didn't want to date him. I'm more interested in an intellectual and spiritual connection. If a guy can make me laugh, he is halfway there. I'm still interested in sex, but the intellectual stuff needs to be there when the sex is no longer an option. I don't have much advice on dating. I don't pay that much attention to perceived social protocols. Dating site recommendations are there to protect you. Yet it is likely I take more chances than I should, and I do not recommend others take that attitude. I try to listen more to my intuition because both my heart and my head are not always rational. Dating is frustrating and exhausting, so I take breaks from it periodically. In any case, it is interesting to me. So the following videos will be about my actual dating experiences as a senior. If you want to know what kind of guys are out there, my videos will give you a clue. Thanks for watching. If you like this, give it a thumbs up and subscribe.